Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm Gary, and this is not David. So today is going to be kind of a slightly different reading. Hey, Punky. Um, I want to talk about fascism. Um, there's been a lot going on in the United States since 2016, since Trump took office the first time. And there's been a lot of comparisons of Trump to Hitler. And there have been some, like Bill Maher, who's said, that's not fair to compare Trump to Hitler because, Hitler killed millions and millions of Jews. It's like, okay, yes, Hitler and the Nazis had concentration camps and they killed millions and millions of people. That's absolutely correct. However, I think Bill Maher's missing the point a little bit is when Trump is being compared to Hitler, it's not necessarily saying that they both have small mustaches and march around in odd ways. It's more their ideals and their politics and their policies. You had Hitler and Mussolini, who were a couple of fascists, right? Hitler just took it a step further. So I found an article. Bo the Fifth Column had done a video right after the Trump term was over, and it was one of those monkey paw videos. And basically, the video was about how Trump had really marched the United States towards the doorstep of fascism. And so I printed out this article by Dr. Lawrence Britt. It's called "The 14 Characteristics of Fascism," and I'm going to post a link to that in the description of this video, but I'm going to briefly go over the 14 steps, and then we'll throw a couple of cards on it. But when the Republicans or MAGA are saying that we're being hyperbolic about Trump being a fascist and that he's just making America great again, I don't think any of them have a real understanding of what fascism is. So here we go. This is a doctor, Dr. Lawrence Britt. He published this in 2003 in an article called "Fascism, Anyone?" And what he did was he studied the fascist regimes of Hitler, Mussolini, Franco, Suharto, and Pinochet. And he found that these fascist governments had 14 elements in common. And these are what the characteristics of these 14 elements are. Okay, the first is a powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere. Does that sound like the United States right now? 2, disdain for the recognition of human rights. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of need, quote unquote. The people tend to look the other way or even approve of torture, summary executions, assassination, long incarcerations of prisoners, etc. I mean, you don't have to look too much further than how people with brown skin who may not have full documentation of citizenship are being treated. This is something that's a characteristic of the United States right now. 3, identification of enemies/scapegoats as a unifying cause. The people are rallied into unifying patriotic frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe. Racial, ethnic, or religious minorities, liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists, etc. Okay, I mean, if you want to say anyone with brown skin is a murderer and a rapist and here illegally and they need to be deported, that's one version. How about the left-wing America-hating liberals? There's another. Trans people, anyone? Just pick the group that's been othered, right? How about Republicans that aren't right-wing enough for Trump? Like Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney. Who would ever accuse them of being rhinos, right? Okay, so that's definitely happening here. Number 4, supremacy of the military. Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers and military service are glamorized. That is certainly happening with Hegseth. Trump's doing it slightly differently. I mean, we had the big military parade, but that was going to happen anyways. But Trump is doing it more with like the National Guard, using them as his personal Gestapo, the immigration ICE agents. That's another Gestapo. So it's certainly applicable, but he's not doing it in the traditional sense. Number 5, rampant sexism. The governments of fascist nations tend to be almost exclusively male dominated. Under fascist regimes, traditional gender roles are made more rigid. Opposition to abortion is high, as is homophobia and anti-gay legislation and national policy. Yeah, that's not a stretch, is it? Number 6, controlled mass media. Sometimes the media is directly controlled by the government, but in other cases the media is indirectly controlled by the government, by government regulations or sympathetic media spokespeople and executives. Fox News, anybody? Censorship, especially in wartime, is very common. I mean, Trump's using the FCC to stifle the media. I mean, even Ted Cruz is aware that, what Trump is doing is a step too far, even for Ted Cruz, okay? Number 7, obsession with national security. Fear is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. This is simply hordes and hordes of migrants, all murderers or rapists coming over the border freely. All the drugs coming in from Venezuela and through Canada. Oh, we got to tighten the borders. Okay, sound familiar? Number 8, religion and government are intertwined. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. Trump is leaning hard into the evangelicals. I'm the chosen one. I'm the special person that God wants here right now. Number 9, corporate power is protected. The industrial and business aristocracy, there's your tech bros, right? Of a fascist nation often are the ones who put the government leaders into power, creating a mutual beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. Hey man, these are your oligarchs. This is your Elon Musks. This is your Jeff Bezos. Just all of the folks that are basically kissing the ring for Trump right now because they want to be able to do their deals or have good business ties. Number 10, labor power is suppressed. Because the organizing power of labor is the only real threat to a fascist government, labor unions are either eliminated entirely or are severely suppressed. We've certainly seen they've been ignored in the cases of federal workers who've been laid off. And Trump is definitely not a fan of labor unions. Number 11, disdain for intellectuals in the arts. That goes without saying. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education. I love uneducated people. And academia. How many colleges have had their government grants removed or threatened to be removed if they don't change their admission policies or change how they teach, right? It is not uncommon for professors or other academics to be censored or even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked, and governments often refuse to fund the arts. Yeah, that's already happened, right? 12, obsession with crime and punishment. Under fascist regimes, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. The people are often willing to overlook police abuses, like wearing masks and beating people and arresting people who are citizens, or ignoring their due process and shipping them out of the country, and even forego civil liberties in the name of patriotism. There's often a national police force with virtually unlimited power in fascist nations. Yeah, we're there and getting closer to being even more there. Number 13, rampant cronyism and corruption. Cronyism in the Trump cabinet? Go on. Corruption? Go on. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions and use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. Okay, I think we're there on that one. Fraudulent elections. Sometimes elections in fascist nations are a complete sham. Other times, elections are manipulated by smear campaigns against or even assassination of the opposition candidates, use of legislation to control voting numbers or political district boundaries, and manipulation of the media. Fascist nations also typically use their judiciaries to manipulate and control elections. Folks, these are the 14 characteristics of fascism. And I can make an argument that we have met or exceeded at least 12. And you could probably say, go down that list and say, yeah, all 14. Now, if you're a MAGA, you probably haven't made it this far because you're screaming at the screen and flipping me the bird. But even if you're MAGA, if you could be objective at all, you'd have to say that at least 10 to 12 of these things already apply. All right? And the rest, they're on their way. So that's the frightening aspect of it. We're not being hyperbolic when we say that Trump is a fascist. He has pushed this nation towards fascism, and it's being openly embraced by MAGA because they're being told that this is the best thing, that they're a true patriot if they embrace these things. And it's frightening as hell. I've never been so scared for my democracy ever. And I saw another article today that basically said, if the Democrats don't at least get the House in the 2026 midterms, that we are going to have a tough time breaking the back of this. So so that's the intro. I will put a warning that it's a long intro. I said that this is going to be a slightly different video. Dave didn't want to record on this one. I think the energy is just too dark for him. He just doesn't want to go there. He's not sure what kind of a reading he could do on this anyways. And I'm just more optimistic that, hey, you know what? Let's read it. Let's get people educated. I'm not trying to get you fired up, but I want you to be knowledgeable. And especially if you are a blue dot in a red family or a blue dot in a red state, and you've got these twits that are spewing their Trumpisms at you, you can be armed with this. Send it to your friends, right? Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the energy on this. Fascism in the United States. It seems like we're here. What do we need to know about the United States and the fascist momentum that has built up? Foundation of the reading is the Nine of Pentacles. Well, the people who with wealth and comforts are totally okay with this, because they're the ones that aren't being othered. They're enjoying their wealth and the trappings of wealth. The challenge is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is you should be rejecting these characteristics. You should be rejecting fascism when you live in a representative democracy. And there's people that have checked out, but they're all on the left side of the fence. And they're not the ones that are currently have influence and power. What else do we need to know about the energy of fascism in the United States right now? Seven of Pentacles. You reaped what you sowed. This is what you wanted. You voted for a clown. You got to expect a circus. There's a lot of things of value in the future, and you just have to be careful about what you're harvesting and how you use it. In the past, you had the Seven of Wands. This is basically, I'm going to read this as the attacks on democracy, the fascist actions that have been taken, and the democracy trying to defend itself against it. Current energy is the King of Swords. This article that was written by Dr. Lawrence Britt was made in 2003. This isn't some article that just came out. It's 22 years old. Okay. Trump wasn't even a blip on the radar 22 years ago. Okay. But here's the truth. You know what? This is an academic paper. This is the truth. This is where you're at. Overarching energy is the Three of Swords. Heartbreak, betrayal. It's absolutely betrayal of the Constitution. It's a betrayal of what every single soldier in the United States fought and or died for, to preserve the democracy of this country and to preserve the unity of this country. This is a travesty that we're going through right now. The lesson to be learned, the Seven of Cups. Don't believe everything that's being presented to you. Trump's trying to sell this as patriotism. It's not patriotism, it's nationalism. There's a big difference. Patriotism is supporting your country. Nationalism is supporting your country, but at the same time putting down every other country as inferior and not worthy. Don't believe everything you're seeing. That could even be election results, right? Outcome, victory. Well, and that can be taken two ways. Right now, the supporters of fascism are celebrating their victory, and they're taking all their actions attacking the Constitution. Let's get a clarifier. Who's celebrating the victory in this outcome? The star. Well, the star, we have, if you want to read this victory as democracy surviving, this is the democracy card. If you want to see this victory as Trump and MAGA, this is Trump being the star. So, inconclusive. Who's the star? The Wheel of Fortune. Depends. Depends on your viewpoint. So right now, we're locked into a major battle. This country is, frankly, in my opinion, has become a fascist nation. We still have checks and balances. We still have an opportunity to pull this thing back off the brink and reverse course and get the hell away from the edge here. But man, oh man, we all have to pull together. None of this, I'm too busy to vote nonsense. We have to get out there. We have to have our voices heard. Let's take a look. How are things going to look after the 2026 elections? This is way too early to be asking this, but since we're here, let's ask it. How is the United States, how is our democracy going to look after the 2026 midterm elections? Okay, you've got heartbreak and betrayal as the primary energy here. The challenge is Six of Swords. It's heartbreak and betrayal. We're trying to get this thing back towards democracy. Energy underneath, Nine of Wands. All the fighting, all of the actions that have been taken against our democracy, and knowing that we still have more battles ahead. I mean, because if Trump is still in power, I'd really be frankly stunned if he were. We're definitely going to have another 2 years of it, right? In the past, you got the Nine of Cups, hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. This is your American oligarchs. This is your MAGA, enjoying all of the chaos and all of the control that they have put into place, basically destroying the structures of the United States government. The current energy is the Seven of Cups. This is your illusions, delusions. Don't believe everything that you're seeing. Don't believe everything that you're being told. What you're being sold and what you actually get are two different things. It's kind of like the comic book prizes. Those little things you used to send away, like the X-ray glasses in your comic books. Yeah, what they were selling you and what you received were two very different things. Overarching energy as the star of democracy. This 2026 election, it's going to have, it's all about embracing the democracy. Lesson to be learned, the Nine of Swords, the anxiety, the nightmare situation that we had found ourselves in. What's the outcome? Outcome, Ten of Cups, happy families, people rejoicing because the future looks bright, the future looks good. Whose future? The fools. The people who want a new beginning. The people who want to go down a different path, a new path. All right. What does that mean? Once again, it depends on your bend. If you are a Republican, you can look at these cards and say, yep, guess what? We're still in charge and you're a bunch of fools. If you're a Democrat, you could look at these cards and say democracy is defended. We're through the nightmare situation and we are going to embrace families again. And we're going to go down a different path than we did before. I like the latter better than the former. Let's do one more reading. How are the Republicans feeling after the 2026 midterms? And how are the Democrats feeling after the 2026 midterms? Once again, way too early. This is just current energy. This is liable to change because, hey, we're one health event away from turning this whole thing around before 2026, right? So it's just based on what's going on right now. is what we got. So on the left, we'll do the Dems. How are the Dems feeling after the 2026 midterms? And how are the Republicans feeling after the 2026 midterms? All right, Dems. Hermit, trying to find that path forward, finding our way. Empress card, to do things that are best for everyone in the United States, taking care of the abundance of the United States. Queen of Wands, we have so many actions that need to be taken, and we need to defend from the high ground our democracy. How are the Republicans feeling? Donald Trump's still in charge. Our democracy, or the democracy's still in place. But there's lots of chaos. This is probably Trump continues to cause chaos. I wonder if there's going to be something about the election results that are going to need to be investigated. Queen of Swords, the truth was out there. And the Chariot is things are moving forward. You were, it's like your previous victory, your momentum is there. It's still moving forward, but it's slowed. What's the energy underneath? Energy underneath for the Democrats. We got to look to the future, and we have actions that we need to take. For the Republicans, you got the Justice card. It could be, like I said, there may be stuff going on in the elections, and they're trying to blow sunshine up everyone's backside, and they're going to try and rely on the courts to keep in power. That is one interpretation. Like I said, way too early for that, but that's currently where we're at. And, it's with the Justice card, that could just be the Republicans' efforts to gerrymander like crazy and using courts to try and protect their current gerrymandering or future gerrymanderings to stay in power, so that the minority of people can stay in power. All right, that's what I got. What an uplift, right? I'm going to be in Munich. Laura and I are leaving on Tuesday, the 23rd of September. This video will probably come up sometime around then. I'm going to record some intros, and we're going to throw some best of Twin Tarot videos that either did really well or videos that probably should have done better. Stuff that Dave and I recorded that we thought would really do well that maybe didn't perform quite as well as we thought. And frankly, and to see how they have aged. It's fascinating because with tarot, you're it's all on intuition. And we've certainly missed. We got some right, and we've certainly missed on some. So one or two of these, it'll be interesting to see how well it's aged. And that's kind of the fun of it, right? So entertainment purposes only. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let's give a couple of shout outs here. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's start with Jimmy, Canuck Buck. Biggest question now is free speech dead? I don't know. It's not quite dead, but it's limping along, Jimmy. Let me tell you. And we're going to give you the 3 of Cups, Jimmy. Go out there and celebrate it while you still can, right? Kentucky Belle, thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle made a very kind contribution, actually several kind contributions to the channel. Totally appreciate it. Hopefully that meant you won the lottery 6 times. So Queen of Cups, keep your emotions under control. If you won the big one, don't tell anyone. Set up a trust or a private corporation, and don't tell a soul if you won the big one there, Michelle. But thank you so much for your kind contribution to the channel. And then we'll wrap it up with Susan Francis. Hi, Susan, from Australia. Also made a kind contribution to the channel. Susan, you get the Page of Wands. I always see your messages out there. Susan always sends me 2 messages saying hi to us, and then an emoticon filled message. So Susan, thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And a card for the rest of us right off the top. 6 of Cups. Just show kindness to one another. It's tough times. I get it. Let's just get through it. And we can do that by being kind and being thoughtful. Hope you're all having a great day. Take care, folks. Bye.